The beautiful thing about learning is nobody can take it away from you. And that's from the great B.B. King. And I just want to give you a shout out to yourself about listening and getting educated. And today I have a great guest that is going to be talking about video photography and travel photography and things that I haven't really covered very much. So I'm super excited to have Shayna Lloyd on the show. Um, and of course, if you don't know, well, not of course, but I'm on both audio. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm on all the platforms. Or if you're listening and you want to go catch a couple hundred of my shows over on video, you can see our shining faces. So, Shayna, welcome. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Hello, Lucy. Thank you so much for having me. And hi, YouTube. Hi, podcast listeners. You're probably doing the dishes or in the car listening to us.
Yeah, yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about this amazing human. First of all, she has her own show. What's it called again, Shayna?
The Devin and Shay Show.
Devin and Shay Show. So she's in beautiful Montana, and she does travel photography and videography for the adventurous and the laid back. Her style is vlog mixed with indie films. Ooh, that sounds fun. And her photography follows suit. She can do multi-day destination weddings or multimedia packages. She's story driven, and her approach has made her really stand out in the market. She likes things to be simple and easy in all areas of her business, and I can tell by her cool energy that also in her life. Would you say that's true?
Oh, I would hope so.
Yeah, I was telling her she has like an NPR voice, so I'm glad she has her own show too. Okay, so how did you get started in photography, videography in a little short and sweet? Um,
Yes, so I went to college in the 2010s, Lucy,
mhm.
and back then that's when travel vlogs were really blowing up on YouTube. So I started vlogging my hikes in Montana, and those travel vlogs were typically called travel diaries. That was the big trend on YouTube at the time. So I called my hiking series Montana Diaries. Those videos accidentally had amazing SEO, so search engine optimization. And so people just started reaching out. Outdoor brands were some of my first clients about filming their brands and their lodges. And also weddings. People were, the brides especially, were like, oh, you have a drone. Will you film my wedding? And so we just kept saying yes. And a few years into business, we also added photography because people kept asking. And years and years later, here we are, still basically just filming for brands and for weddings.
Wow. So that is a very different story than I hear with most of my guests, where you didn't start out to create what you've created. You started out doing something creative, and the universe said, "We want more, please." And so you said,
Yeah,
yes.
that's a kind interpretation. The real story is they were like, no, we don't want you as our influencer. Will you actually just film for us?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And the rest is history. So
yes.
what were you um what were you creating as a vlogger? Was it to be an influencer and get, I'm not really sure where that leads because, I'm old now and I
I
try
mean,
to keep
same.
up, but
At the time, I was just really sad. I wasn't well suited to be a college student, and I was working as a waitress, long hours. Like I was a waitress all night, trying to go to class during the day, chronically depressed, late to everything, and just really hating how disrespectful I probably seemed to my professors who I loved so much and beating myself up. I was studying writing and not writing anything very well and
Mm.
starting to hate books, which I'm such an avid reader. That was really hard on me to hate reading. And I
Yeah.
just needed something silly that also felt creative. And so we were vlogging everything. Montana Diaries is the series that worked, obviously, but I was also interviewing my roommates about their dating life and vlogging myself getting coffee 3 times a day and making silly comedy talking head videos. I made a video about dress code sexism. That was my first like kind of political talking head that went viral, and I got scared and I deleted it. Uh, so the why was just to create something that wasn't academic, and I'm glad I did it. It was embarrassing at the time. It wasn't a normal thing to do.
I love that. So was it on your phone? Did you have video equipment? What did you use for
I
the
had a Canon G7X, the first little point and shoot I ever had, and I would just stuff my tips from waitressing in an envelope under my bed until I could afford it. It was like $800.
wow. Uh, so I just love that you paid attention to what was going on with you and made a decision to do something to, sometimes it's just anything. Like I think the way that we can find our true path or whatever is our path for now is we get moving, like getting your boat in a
Mm.
river and heading for something. And you may actually have some twists and turns and find yourself where you didn't expect. But the force of the universe will just go into that woo word. To me, um, it can work with a moving, when we move, it's easier than like the universe is not going to get your boat off the shore. But if you're in the river, it can like, okay, how about this? Especially if you pay attention. It sounds like you paid attention to,
I I think that's so beautiful. And so you interpret people really generously, Lucy, and I really like that. I uh I I had to pause when you said get the boat into the river. That gave me tingles a little bit. I think I'm better at paying attention in retrospect. I think at the time I felt I felt like I was distracting myself and it was kind of a waste of time in the moment. But in retrospect, I like that it happened,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah. But you did something. There's, I don't know if you've ever heard this story, but there was a guy who put balloons, weather balloons on his lawn chair.
Yes.
And he ended up being like 30,000 feet in the air or something. And, I don't know how they got him down. But when he was interviewed, like, why did you do that? He said, well, you can't just sit there.
Mm,
And so this to me, even though you thought what you were doing didn't have value, it's incredible what has unfolded. So I hope, uh, beautiful listener, you're kind of
mm.
thinking about what could I do that feels not not like it's valuable, but
Yeah, not
just,
productive.
yeah, just see what unfolds. So that's my favorite story. I love it.
Mm.
All right, so let's see, what's my actual question? So you do um, travel. Is it elopements or is it just generally someone finds you and says, come do my wedding and you get in your car or you get on a plane or a boat?
Yes. So the vast majority of my income is destination elopements and smaller weddings. I will honestly take on any project because I have such a specific style and sense of humor that I really feel that if a potential client likes me and likes my work, it's a great fit. But
Mhm.
yes, my bread and butter is destination elopements and small weddings.
So where is a really cool place that you got to go that you maybe never would have visited or, what's a story of a wonderful destination wedding?
that's the best part of the job is going places that we otherwise never would have visited. So my examples from last year would be for Arkansas. I never would have chosen to go to Arkansas, but I loved it. Every place on earth you can find like the charm and history and just get blown away by the beauty. My favorite place that I've gotten to go that I would have visited would be Greece.
Mm.
And last year I also got to see Joshua Tree for the first time. That
Oh,
was really special.
did you go to any of like there's this dome out near there? Did you go there?
Yes, and we also visited oh my gosh, you're from California. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna butcher the name, but there's just the craziest, coolest, weirdest outdoor art museum outside of the park by an author or not an author, an artist who passed. Um, but that was like the quirkiest, cutest stop that my couple wanted to take because they love local art. So that was really special. And just getting to drive from Palm Springs and seeing, driving through the canyon for that first time made me
Yes.
cry. I get blown away every time I get to see a new place.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm part of a women's photography group, and we did a retreat to Joshua Tree,
Ah,
which is why I know about what's it called? The Exploratorium, or I forget the name of that
hmm.
dome, and you can have a sound bath. But as we were driving into Joshua Tree, the radio started playing Riders on the Storm by the Doors. And I just had this 70s flashback and, going
Yeah.
into the mystery. And yeah, so I love, uh, like traveling is takes a lot of effort. Um, but boy, the rewards if you like to visit places is huge. So
Hmm.
one big question that I have is how you charge for your travel because it's not just, a day of work and editing and all the other things that go with doing video or weddings, but how do you how do you figure that all out?
Okay, Lucy, I don't know if you're gonna like my answer,
I love any answer,
but
as long as it's the truth.
it is the truth. It's mostly vibes. To me, it's what is going to make me not resent this job and what's still profitable and works for my business and lifestyle. Um, for that Joshua Tree wedding, it was off season. It's in November. I'm not really booking weddings here in Montana at that time. My fee for an elopement photography session, like 5-ish hours of coverage in my local national park glacier would be 5,000. I told them I'd be willing to do it for 6 because I knew that would cover my flight and stay. So to me, it's not always like, look, here's the exact calculation of what the hotel and stay and my time traveling is going to be. It's does this make sense for the season, and for my portfolio building, and for what feels good. I don't know if I could have charged 6 for Joshua Tree in July, when I'm shooting elopements constantly in the PNW, you know?
Right. And when it's 1,000 degrees, it's the
Yes,
last place
that
you
too.
want to be. So, so what I'm hearing is because you also love to travel and
Mhm.
you're growing your trying to keep your schedule busy, and $5,000 isn't pocket change for a
No.
5-hour wedding anyway, that it's kind of a case by case basis in terms of
Yes.
what you charge. The
And
one,
that's a,
go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead. I
Um,
was gonna say, I want to say that the way I present a quote to a client doesn't have those as separate line items. I tell them the exact total price that I'm willing to do that job for, and present them with the payment plans that we're all comfortable with as well.
Now, okay, I'm going to put a pin in what I was going to ask you. I hope I remember when I pull that pin out. Um, so one of the things that I see people on Facebook sometimes say is,
Mm.
I'm doing an out of town wedding or I have to drive 200 miles. What's my mileage charge? And I love
Mm.
what you just said is you don't do it like this. We're not employees, that the state law is, I don't know, 30 cents a mile, or I don't know
Mhm.
how that goes. We say I can do it for this much, and does
Mhm.
that work or not? So, yes, how I do it, because I have a session fee and then I have a purchase of, I sell products. Um,
Mhm.
then I will break it out that, like, my fee is 2,000 for the session, which includes the travel fees, and then X amount that you can apply, or whatever the package is, and so forth. Video is different, but you're also doing both. Do you do both all the time?
Typically, I have those as separate services with a large discount if my clients are willing to go with both services with me. That works as a great like multiplier of the value of each individual client, and it really incentivizes them to go with me for both services.
So when you say we, is it you and a partner?
The royal we of my photo video business, Montana Diaries.
We.
There are jobs where I hybrid shoot by myself, but for larger projects where I would need a second shooter anyway, I have a few associates who like to use.
And they go with you, and so you have a little
Yes.
fun getaway. If you're doing it yourself, can you do video and photography, or is it they have to choose?
I can, for with some caveats, it's all client communication. I always tell my clients who prefer me to be there by myself, hybrid shooting, to that so for a wedding, they can expect their highlight film to be a lot simpler, obviously. And then if it's a wedding where I'm filming the full ceremony, I also make sure that they understand that that full ceremony film will include a tripod that I'm walking in front of throughout the ceremony. So it's just telling them the cons of having me there for a simpler experience.
And if they know what that is, that's great.
Yes.
So my cousin's daughter got married in this castle in Indiana. It was actually really a beautiful space.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do anything, but the videographer, photographer that they hired, um, luckily, it he knew about me from her, and so he let me kind of hang out with them and do a little quick posing and fun ideas too, because it's so hard to see somebody that's brand new, you know, and you're like, oh, just turn the dress that way. Anyway, I'm digressing. Okay, the point, what I wanted to say was he did mostly video and took his stills from his Sony full frame.
Mm.
Do you do that? What's your thoughts on
I
that?
do not. My thoughts on that is I'm really fine with anybody's process as long as the communication with the client is extremely clear. Clarity is kindness. So
Hmm.
if someone is taking hybrid shooting, but really mostly doing video and delivering stills, there's client education there that they can't be printing those stills at a super large, like for a large format print. The quality just isn't going to be there. It might be okay for social media. My approach would be toggling back and forth between photo and video throughout the day.
So the quality that you get from a video is not, can it be printable up to an 8 by 10?
Mm, from a Sony shot in 4K, possibly. I don't think it would be the quality you'd expect from obviously taking a photo.
Right, right. Yeah, I was concerned, but she was
And
on.
it's the equivalent of editing a JPEG too. It's basically just a
Right,
screenshot of a video.
right. Got it. Well, that clears up a little thing I was curious about.
You're gonna clip this and send this to your cousin's daughter.
Yes. No, she knows. It was his first, and
Yeah.
he's done a lot of video, and it was his first wedding. And what was so fun for me is I had my Sony smaller sensor uh, camera. It was lightweight, no obligation. So I did like happy snaps just for fun. And he didn't care if I delivered them to her too. So she'd wanted to hire me years ago, but couldn't really afford me. And I had more fun not getting paid. So
That's always the case.
yes, yes. Um, yeah. Okay. What actual question? These weren't even questions yet on my what are questions? Okay. Video is king online. That is something that is one of your talking points, ideas for this conversation. So, what do you mean by that?
Well, Lucy, why do you put this on YouTube?
Hmm, because one day I decided I was over my vanity and
Oh,
willing to, yeah, be seen. And yeah, because it's warm and friendly and personal. And some people, like, I'm very visual. So I don't listen to podcasts, but I watch YouTube content. It,
that's
is a podcaster not supposed to admit that they don't listen to podcasts?
no, you can do whatever you want. I support you.
Okay.
That's such a
Okay.
beautiful place to start, getting over your vanity. And the subtext of that is the thing I always say to my branding clients when they're feeling self-conscious and when I'm taking their portrait in my studio is I'm like, are you trying to date people or are you trying to serve them? When we're worried about how we look and how we
Right.
show up. And that's basically what you're saying with I got over my vanity to put this podcast on YouTube to connect in a warm and friendly way, face to face, because that's how you like to consume information as well.
Yeah.
So when we say video is king online, it's how we're consuming content these days on every single social media platform. And beyond the psychology part of it is just the fact that if every single platform is prioritizing it and human behavior is that we keep consuming it and scrolling it and that's where our attention is going. That also means that's what search engines are prioritizing. Google is the number one search engine in the world, and I know there's some argument for AI, but Google's also integrating AI as well. And they own the second largest and most used search engine in the world, which is YouTube. So if you want to get in front of your potential clients and serve them really, really well, then it would behoove you to consider uh, targeting your potential clients with amazing videos and making sure they're search engine optimized because those platforms prioritize those videos.
I love it. And even though anybody that listens long enough knows I'm kind of phobic about my bangs looking good, and they're pretty good today.
Now that you have good bangs.
Good bangs. But funky bangs aside, I that makes so much sense. Uh, so short form versus long form.
Mhm.
So one of my little questions is when you're saying video is king, I'm thinking you're talking about how helpful it is to market, to get out there in the world, to be seen. Um, th
Absolutely.
that's the queendom. I'll say that video's queen. How about that? Anyway, is that what you're talking about? Is the opportunity to have video grow, whatever it is we're wanting the world to kind of latch onto? Is that
Yes,
right?
if you're engaging in content marketing in any form online, then you should absolutely consider that the most effective way to get in front of who you're trying to reach is to use video.
Mm. So on Facebook, on Instagram,
Especially
all the
Facebook.
things.
Facebook is so underutilized by the photography community, like in a crazy way. Everyone thinks that every single client has jumped ship from Facebook and gone on to Instagram and then TikTok and YouTube Shorts. And so Facebook it's still being consumed by a super large demographic everywhere. who hasn't jumped ship to those other platforms, but they're not seeing your content because everyone's ignoring it.
Mm. Yeah, and I see friends of mine post like not like an advertisement like, oh, hire me and you get a discount, but it's some really lovely little post that says, hey, these are some of the things I'm up to. And from what you just said, if they had popped in a little video into that, then it would be seen more.
Yes.
Yes.
And Facebook Reels is the algorithm wants more inventory. Like I do you listen to Gary Vee at all?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so he's one of my favorite voices in marketing, and he's constantly talking about how underutilized Facebook Reels are. And I see it so much in our industry. Just if your friends also wanted to reach cold traffic in your area because Meta's stolen all of our data and knows who's near you and might be buying, then posting a Facebook Reel, uh, even summarizing with your voice or just pulling in clips and videos from your phone with text over it of what they've been up to would go so far in connecting with potential clients.
I love it. I love it. I tried to start doing reels for
Yeah.
my podcast, and then my virtual assistant that was doing it, uh, I don't know if she went off and I don't know if, anyway, she got another opportunity, so she wasn't available. But we did one clip. I have an episode about fear, feel the
Mhm.
fear and do it anyway. And so we did one great little clip, and I got so many clicks on that were beyond what my normal still Instagram quotes are. I was pretty surprised. So yeah, I can see how powerful that can be.
Yeah, not to get too off track with this, but just because I think it's important. And yes, and
Yes, and
that
have you have you done improv?
no, I love
Okay.
comedians.
Yeah,
I'd love
so
to though. I live in the woods, Lucy. There's no
yeah.
improv
Yeah.
here.
So
I
because yes and is the core
yes.
with improv. So I think my ability to be a podcaster was helped because I did improv for a couple of years
Oh yeah, of course.
just for fun. So anyway, yes, and
Yes, and Lucy, the carousels and photos and stories that you post can be so valuable to the people who already follow you and are interested in you. And so those are worth doing. But I would say that the function of short form video is to reach a cold audience because
hmm,
those can hit the algorithms of people who have no idea who you are, more so than the static posts and the stories.
okay. So what about long form? Because we had a long form versus short form. So I think
Yes.
we got the
So
message on short form. So tell me about long form.
long form sh functions very well in two different ways. So I'll start with the searchability. So since Google prioritizes video in search so well, and it owns YouTube, so if you have a longer form video, whether for me that's typically a long wedding highlight film, that if I am specifically titling that to show up in search is not the client's name. It would be gorgeous, sunny wedding at this specific spot in Glacier National Park. So if anyone is searching for weddings in that spot in Glacier National Park, my video comes up. But then it does double duty when I embed that video into a blog post on my website. Not only does it come up in search and AI pulls from that blog post then because it's extra authoritative, it helps the blog post rise in ranking. So I'm showing up for those clients in another way. And so the function of long form in that way is searchability and just long-term results for marketing. But the second function is that when we consume long form content, it builds so much trust and goodwill with the viewer of that content. And so we see that with my wedding films, and that my clients can really experience, my potential clients can really experience another stranger's experience with me
Hmm.
and see what that final product is. But if we're pivoting back into you posting these episodes on YouTube, we're in people's ears and seeing them face to face for upwards of an hour at a time. The people who consume these podcasts from you, Lucy, on YouTube, trust you so implicitly
Hmm.
that when it's time to take any next steps with you, it's an easy yes.
Thank you. And
Yes.
so, Shayna, I have heard that people are starting to use, like still photographers are
Mm.
starting to do blog, podcasts to draw, like for me and for you, we love to teach. So it's a natural place to be seen and known and let people know what we have to offer in terms of support. But are you familiar with and have some ideas about as a photographer how people can have a podcast that will help promote them and like what would they do?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
So, when a photographer listening, if you're whether your portraits or still life or whatever it is that you're thinking in this moment, and you're thinking, how can a long form video help my photo business?
Podcast is my question.
Yes.
Having a podcast.
So
Okay.
I I hear
Or a
you when you
YouTube
say
channel.
podcasts. But when I'm thinking about the answer, I think people think podcast and they think 60 minutes of content, right? But
Mhm.
even if we want to make that into a 10 to 12-minute video, that
Mhm.
can also be converted audio-wise into a podcast. We always have to think to ourselves, like, what would it take for this thing I want to do to be easy and to also be effective, right?
Mhm.
So if you're sitting there thinking, how can a long form video on YouTube slash a podcast help my photo business? The first thing you have to think is, what are my potential clients typing into a search bar and able to find it to be able to find what th're looking for? So Lucy, would you say you're mostly a family photographer? Would that be fair?
When I was full time, yes.
Yeah. So, if we have to think like the easiest version of this, which you can get way more specific than this, would be is someone typing in San Diego family photographer? Is anything coming up on YouTube for that
Mhm.
result? And a lot of the times, San Diego is very big, but a lot of the times the answer to that is no, or maybe 1 to 5 people have posted a video with that title. So then you think, okay, what would be in an intro video or intro podcast that would be super valuable to the type of person typing in San Diego family photographer? So to me, that would be as simple as turning the camera on and talking through what it's like to hire me, Lucy, as your San Diego family photographer, my favorite locations, what the process is like with booking with me, what you can expect afterwards, because it sounds like you do some IPS, so extra selling of prints,
Mhm.
and what that experience is like. And then if you want to get fancy with editing, which you don't have to in this stage, putting some of your work as examples into the video as well. And from there, posting it on YouTube and then embedding it onto your website and seeing how fast you then rank for the term San Diego family photographer from there, whether it's from the YouTube video or podcast or that blog post.
I love that. I love that. Um, eh, so what I've been hearing is that some people are doing like a weekly
Yes.
podcast, and I like your idea that it could be 10 minutes and
Yeah.
could be like I'm a kid photographer is really my biggest heart. If
Yeah.
it was like, okay, you're going to start your business up and you'll be successful at whatever you want, I would say I want to photograph 9-month-old and 4-year-olds, and that's it.
Hmm.
So I could see like a 10, 15 minute, what are some great parks
Yes.
in and something that would also be good audio, not just video, but
Yes.
parks or um, you know, more like I'm trying to think,
And
more
it's not
like
just,
where
oh, go
it's
ahead.
not about promoting me, but it's
Yes.
about what would be interesting to my audience that then, like you said, would get to know and trust me and then start thinking, huh, maybe I maybe I want to hire her as a photographer, but something like a little kind of like I know a lot of people have started um, having Facebook groups, and the mistake I think some people make is that they make it about their business rather than like
Hmm.
for me, if I was having a special Facebook group, it would be San Diego moms uh, support, something where there was conversation about parenting or, all kinds of things around that. But then they get to know me and they see me post some photos and so forth. So I'm just brainstorming right now that I could see how a regular weekly podcast could
Yes.
be very similar.
Yeah, and sometimes when I say, what would a potential client be searching for, that almost gets scary for people too. But what triggered me into this next thought was you saying, I love 9-month-olds and I love 4-year-olds. It's like, okay, what are the hardest parts about photographing those age groups, and what do parents worry about going into the
Mhm.
experience? You'll have a list of 30 to 50 ideas for your weekly podcast
Right.
of like, here's what to do when your baby cries during their photo shoot. Like,
Yes.
people will be searching for that, and it's so helpful and so interesting. And you probably have a ton of funny stories about that in your experience too.
Mhm. Yes. And I'm even saying things where it's not about photography at all.
Totally.
It's about because my brand is that I'm every kid's Aunt Lucy, which is true. Although when my nephew was 3, he started calling me Auntie Woody. So,
Oh my
so
gosh.
he's 5 now, so I'm Aunt Lucy, but I liked being Auntie Woody for a while. Um, yeah, so I love talking to you. It's like my brain is just going pew, pew, pew on so many things. What other zones of genius do you think I should give you the opportunity to share about?
Zones of genius. Oh, that's such, you are one of the most generous conversationalists I've had
Aw,
in a long
what
time.
do you mean by
Zones of
that?
genius is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, I would say that my particular talent uh, is definitely in noticing people and in the editing room. Uh, I'm leading with that because I think what scares people most with video, whether they want to do it for marketing, which is a big chunk of what we talked about, or whether they have some motivation or something inside of them that wants to do it more creatively too and upsell it later, is that people tend to think they need to have all the best gear and all the information
Mm,
and know everything before they start. But one of my zones of genius is in getting that boat in the river
mm,
in messy action. And I would love for this to be a permission slip for you all to just try something with video after this
mhm.
conversation and let it be bad. Let it be messy, but just start that momentum and serve your people really well, and it's all going to come together.
I love it. Or, gosh, I'm going to be thinking about you. Um, what a- would you say 3 times a day you were filming yourself doing what when you started just
Oh, just everything. I would be filming myself making coffee or
yeah,
going on coffee runs and
yeah.
doing nothing. They were not great vlogs.
But it look where it has led, and it'll be so interesting to see how what you're doing now leads to whatever's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Um, yeah, yeah. Oh, so fun to talk to you. Um, so if you were going to, I always say to my guests, and I forgot to say this, because we've just had so much rich conversation without, okay, I'm talking too much.
Yeah,
Talking
never.
points, or no, action steps. So can you give us 3 to 5 action steps for getting started, um, I guess in video, since
Absolutely.
that's your zone of genius.
I would say if you're listening to this conversation and you're feeling inspired to do something after this. I would say that the difference between where I started and where you can start right now is that you have a beautiful video camera that can shoot 4K that you have in your hand almost all day, every day, and that's your iPhone. And if you're feeling called to practice, but you want to do it in the simplest way possible so that you actually do it, I would encourage you, whether it's living your regular life or actually at a client session, to take 3 to 5 videos that you can repurpose for social media or hopefully string together to tell some sort of story based off of your goals. And to make this practical, if we're thinking about the marketing side and coming up in search, then I would say if you have a favorite restaurant in your neighborhood or a favorite park or a favorite coffee shop, that you take 3 to 5 videos at those places, tag the location, and if it is a business, tag the business to show people in your area that you are a part of the local community, that you understand the area, and that implicitly tells your potential clients that you're an expert of your location and your space. And then the next step, if we're
Okay, so
thinking more on the, oh, sorry, go
let
ahead.
me summarize that. So step one would be, first of all, you got the iPhone or whatever great phone you have. And so go pick a location and 3 to 5 different videos and make make a reel or whatever, put it together, string it together. So that'd be step one. Okay, am I right on that?
You are.
Okay, so step two.
And then step two, um, if you're not thinking with your marketing brain on and you really truly do feel called to start making videos for your clients to later upsell, you can also practice with your iPhone because it trickles down into being great marketing if you're just practicing artistically with your iPhone. And when the difference is when you're taking those clips at a session, is you have to put your storytelling brain on of what is the function of these shots that I'm taking. And it's just 5 shots. That's all it takes to tell a story. And Lucy, with your permission, can I explain what these 5 shots are?
Mhm. Yep.
Beautiful. And these are condensed, so they're not the most technical terms, but the first would be a wide shot. And a wide shot tells your viewer about time and space and climate. It orients them in the scene. Fair enough?
Hmm.
Then there's the long shot, which is really just a full body or half body shot of your subject within that scene. And the function is it shows them moving within the space that you established.
Hmm.
Next would be a close-up, which I've also combined with an extreme close-up. This shot basically just has your subject filling the frame. And what it does storytelling wise is it shows more about the subject themselves, not just the space that they're in. Next would be a detail shot, which we've defined as what are their hands doing? How are their lips moving? How is their dress rustling on the ground? Is the wind moving their hair? Which is similar to the last shot, which is B-roll. We've defined B-roll, we being the royal we again, sorry. I've defined B-roll. She's doing the royal wave for those who aren't on YouTube. We've defined B-roll is what our subject might be seeing. So while it technically takes you away from the action, so think moss on a rock that your client might have commented on a hike. It takes you away from the action, but it closes the loop on storytelling because it shows what is around the subject.
Mm.
And I like to think of all these shots in my photography as well. So if you're thinking about the function of what these shots do, just 5 shots and you string them together for one reel, that tells a complete, beautiful story. And it's great
Mm.
practice for both photo and video.
I love it. And it it's just exactly like what I do when I'm photographing,
Yeah.
let's say a family portrait. I love the um, 28 to 105 f4 lens
Mm-hmm.
because I can get a big scenic shot with them in it, and then I can get a medium shot at 50 that's what you just said, head, like the whole family, let's say, where it's mostly them. And then I can zoom in and I can get their faces. And then uh, I can see in a video how,
Yeah.
even if it's in studio, uh, some of the environmental thing could be showing the lights or
Yes.
just the view from the subject standpoint. And then that, and I love the 105 feature because it's a beautiful portrait lens. So, but of course our phones do all of that and more now. So I love that it's, you know, when you have a system,
Yes.
everything is so much easier. I think the big fears are like, where do I start? How do I plan this? And I'm sure you would say it's okay to do it without knowing what you're doing and without having those 5 steps. Just get out there and go for it. But I love that. Okay, so that was number two, which is telling a story with video clips of a session. Is there another action step that you
Yes, and
suggest?
the loop that then closes that from there, Lucy,
Okay.
is once we're comfortable with the storytelling part, then maybe, just maybe, your brain will allow you to do the scary thing and use the camera you're already taking for photos. And I love that you mentioned even just the exact lens you would do to accomplish all of these shots if you were to use your camera, because that's the next step. Once we remove the fear of thinking you need extra gear and tech like stabilizers and all these filters and that you need to know a ton of extra settings and that it's going to be scary. Maybe if we remove those barriers and you trust your technical knowledge as a photographer, you understand the exposure triangle, that if we just take a breath during our sessions, we can toggle over to video and get those 5 seconds of each of those clips that we just
Mhm.
defined. And after you practice with doing it with your phone, you can do it with your camera. You've got it.
Yeah. Unless you keep forgetting where the button is that makes it video. I,
Fair.
I'm notorious for thinking I've turned the video on when it's off and off when it's on. Like
Fair enough.
I had a I had some stepkids for a while and I was photographing the Easter egg hunt. Well, I have a lot of them hunting, but no finding because I was taping all the non all the parts I didn't want. But anyway, practice makes you get used to it. Anything that you
Absolutely.
don't do all the time is hard to remember. Well, gosh, this has been incredible, and I feel like we could talk forever. If you ever get a destination wedding down here,
Oh my gosh, you'll be the first
let's
person I
hang
reach out
out.
to.
And I have a great little vacation rental uh, above my garage that I'm right near downtown. I can see the Balboa Park, the zoo
I'm
space
jealous.
across the canyon, and I can see the downtown lights. But it's like a little village that was set up in the late 1800s. So it's this little oasis destination, but right in the heart of everything. So, um, anyway, I just digressed, but maybe there's somebody listening coming to San Diego that'd be like, I'd love to hang out with Lucy and stay in her little place. Okay. Um, so I know you have a gift for us. I have two questions. Like, you have a gift for us. People want to get in touch with you. Um, so what is that gift and how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, thank you so much for offering for me to give this to your listeners. But I run a photo video education company with my business partner, Devin. We are rebranding, but this link will still work. We got a cute letter from a lawyer that we're violating trademark law, so that's super
Oh,
fun. But the information's still amazing. Not trademark experts, just photo video experts. But our new name is Devin and Shay. It's just our names. And you can find a free class all about integrating video into your photo business And it's at heythriver.com/free video class. And you can DM us after that and just tell us what you think and if you have any questions. But that link will redirect to the new URL once the rebrand is complete.
Awesome. Awesome. And so last question is either like a parting thought or if there's something that you might think, oh, I wish she'd asked me about this because this is something important I wanted to share. So the floor is yours.
The only thing that's coming up for me, which is a reminder that I really needed, just being stressed out in busy season, is how important just taking action is and getting momentum, getting that boat into the water. That really hit me today, Lucy. So thank you for that reminder. I try and fail at more things in a month than a lot of photographers that I talk to even try in a year. And it can feel a little chaotic sometimes, but it's really the only way to move forward is to make quick decisions and to take action as quickly as you can, even if it isn't perfect.
I love it. Okay, so stay tuned for there's so much content. I'm not going to be able to wrap it all up, but stay tuned for my little wrap up of what I can. And that's all I have for now. Thank you everybody for subscribing it to wherever you're listening and sharing it because sharing is caring. And
Oh
Shayna,
my
it's
gosh.
it's just been so much fun. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Lucy. This was amazing.
So I'm back and I'm thinking, sometimes I think, well, why am I still doing this podcast? Because yes, I love new coaching clients, but I'm not actively doing a lot of education, um, you know, for money. And then I get to meet people like Shayna, and I have such a wonderful conversation and connection. And it's like, oh, that's why, because I don't know, photographers, there's just something about us that's awesome. I'm sure you would agree. So, just the first of all, a little note. She has, if you're listening to this in August, she has an event September 8th to 11th in a cabin in Montana. And if I were still growing my business or wanting to expand, I would go. It sounds fabulous. Styled shoots, all kinds of amazing things. So if you're interested in that, you can go to heythriver.com, Hey, and get more details on that. So a little wrap up is really just thinking about using video to promote your business. And I loved her story that she was doing video and she didn't have a business to promote, but it created a business for her because people started asking if she could do things for her. And I love our conversation about long form versus short form and how we could use all of that. Some of the tips she said are, well, first of all, we need to take action, and failing, the more action we take, the more we're going to fail, but the more we're going to thrive when we try. So here's a couple steps for getting started in video. She said, use your iPhone or whatever smartphone you have that does video. Don't be intimidated and think you have to figure out how to use your camera video features. So just use that to get comfortable because the quality is good, ease of use, it's available, go for it. And she says, take 3 to 5 videos and string them together in a story. Her suggestion is pick something, your favorite coffee shop, a park, a business that you like. I live in this cute little historic neighborhood, so I have lots of ideas of little videos that I could do. Um, so, yes. And then number 2, she said, there's 5 steps to tell the story because you want to think of it as a story. So you do wide shot of the overall scene, and then you do a long shot, which is like medium with more detail, but not, and then a close up, an extreme close up, and then little details, and then turning it backwards to what the subject would be seeing. So, that sounds so simple. I think I might take a walk and go do that. And number 3, then when you get comfortable with that, then figure out how to use the camera on your video, the video on your camera, sorry. And it's easy as pie. So I love, love, love that. And I just was so delighted to meet Shayna, and I'm sure you loved her too. So, all right, that's it for now. Bye.